Good afternoon, Switch community. I thought I would give you a quick update on the garden as I've been out here working the past couple days. I hope you enjoyed the pear trees there in the beginning of the video. And let's get into it, Switch community. First, I have to say, I'm really sad. I feel like a murderer. I have slugs all over my garden. They're eating my fennel, they're eating my dill. Oh, so I had to set traps for them last night, and I feel so sad about that. Okay, so now that we've gone to something beautiful and something not so beautiful in the cycle of life, let's look at what we've got going on out here in the garden. All right, so under this little tarp here, we made a little greenhouse. I've planted some beans in here. What we have under here specifically are garbanzo beans and lima beans. These I just have out here for protection. They were supposed to be rutabaga, turnips, and tomatillos. However, there are things growing in that container that I'm not sure what they are. Beets are doing lovely. These have been outside for 2 days, so almost all of this growth is absolutely from the house. That's a ghost pepper, living its best life out here. There are also a couple rows of beans planted here. They are called dwarf Taylor beans. Possibly one coming up right there. They've been in the ground for a few days, so we should start seeing them sprout. We just have sprouts all over the place. There are various flowers starting to come up in this little area over here. We have sunflower seeds planted. Today what I brought outside to plant were basically all herbs. So I have triple curled parsley and a bunch of cilantro that I've planted. Those are, the first one there is triple curled parsley, and then the rest are cilantro. Over here we have cilantro. I like cilantro. I make this salsa called hell's salsa with ghost peppers, and so I wanted to make sure I had plenty of cilantro this year. So there's another little patch of cilantro. I also brought out my English lavender and planted it. I'm trying to get lavender on all corners of the garden. There's another lavender. The radishes in this bed are doing really well. And clearly not all of that will be radishes. Some of those are weeds and grass, and we have a few carrots in here. Otherwise, looking good there. Onions are still doing really well. Now over here on the sides of this particular bed, I planted some nasturtium. And I also planted California poppies along this side right here. And I did that on both sides. So hopefully we'll have some matching flowers on both sides. I lined this entire side of the berry section with cilantro. Again, loving the cilantro, hoping to get plenty for my salsa this year. I planted a little cilantro right there underneath the tomato plant. I'm hoping it will withstand some of the summer. Now, I had not intended on planting this tomato plant today. However, the wind knocked it over, and I thought, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and stick it out. If it gets a little chilly, I will cover it. Otherwise, that is a vintage wine tomato plant. What I did was pulled the bottom 2 leaves off. So I had a couple bottom leaves, one there and one a little bit further down. They were a little bit longer than that, And I just dug a really deep hole and planted it all the way up. Tomatoes will root all the way up the vine. They're actually vining plants. That's why when we grow them, we need to stake them, because they'll just fall over and root all across the ground and vine all across the ground. Tulips and hyanthus, blooming beautifully. Loving it. There's also a little cilantro right there, and we should have a sunflower coming up right there as well. Okay, so what have we done here? Nothing really. This is lavender from last year that's coming back up. This is an onion bed. This is a garlic bed. These were all planted in the fall, including the lavender. Blueberries are doing amazing, even getting some little buds on them. Beautiful. There's one right there and one right here. Not seeing any buds on this one, but that's okay. I've also seeded this entire area here. So I was doing a little experiment, and with this bed, what we have at the top is Kellogg's breakfast tomatoes. And then in the middle row, we have 2 different varieties of eggplants. And then at the bottom, we have cucumbers. Now, not sure if any of them are going to grow. And of course, if it frosts again, which it probably will, there's fairly substantial potential that they're going to die. However, we have stakes all around this particular bed, so making a little greenhouse really wouldn't be that big of a deal. All right, over here in this section, planted various flowers. So petunias are in the box. Otherwise, in this section right here, we have cilantro. I planted seeds in there, lemongrass seeds, catnip. There is also some nasturtium in the corners, hoping that they might crawl up the stakes we have. In this long section here, I've planted some chard, some celery, some rutabaga. There are a few more beets over here because I love me some beets. This is coriander, which also cilantro. This one's definitely more established. Lavender that's in this bed is bouncing back. If you can see right here, this is sage coming back. Sage is a perennial. Right here, this is my purple coneflower, or echinacea, coming back. Now, what I also learned recently is kale is a biannual. So while the kale survived the winter, what it's doing now is getting ready to flower and seed, and every single one of our kale plants is flowering, well, getting ready to flower, and then we'll go to seed. So I'm really excited to collect some seed here. We could probably still eat some of the leaves, which would be fine. However, I did plant some more kale, a lettuce mix in through here. So I think we'll be overrun by kale seeds if anyone's interested in some kale. It's a superfood, so it's good for your body. Our chard still doing amazing. And the last thing up would be Brussels sprouts. So if we look in here, what it appears is that we're going to seed also, if you look there, for Brussels sprouts. So no problem. We'll just collect ourselves some seeds. And we do have some baby Brussels here. Maybe we could Try to eat those in a little dish. Otherwise, yeah, we're going to seed. Which again, also fine. That patch right there is broccoli. We have cabbage coming up, looking beautiful, gorgeous. Spinach going off like a champ. We have some more lettuces and spinach coming up that I planted this season. That spinach was from last season. This chard last season. These also chard, also last season planted. This lettuce right here, planted in the fall, still doing fabulous, and that is thyme. Absolutely loving that area. I'm not sure it's going to continue to thrive in this particular area just because we have very little tree coverage now, where up until a few months ago this particular bed was pretty shady. So we'll see how that one goes. It's not the only place I have thyme planted, but right now it's looking absolutely beautiful. And I just brought this in from outside. So I planted these probably a month or so ago. A couple of them went to seed with my grow light, but this is just a variety. Basically 7 or 8 different types of lettuce are in here. I thought it should come outside and get some actual rain. It looks like we're going to have a little bit of rain this afternoon, so it needs some real life rain, and then we're probably going to eat quite a bit of this. Otherwise it's all just going to turn to seed, and we want some food out of it. Our mint coming back. We have 3 different kinds of mint in here. Love springtime. Everything's just coming back to life. It is so beautiful. Another pot of mint. We still have quite a bit of work to do on the beds. We're getting a lot of them tilled. We're doing it by hand. We've got several places leveled off where we're just waiting for the last frost before we actually come out and plant a lot of things that, you know, really need the warmer weather. But right now we're trying to get herbs established. We're trying to, you know, make sure we have our borders set, growing some of the cool weather crops, and then we'll rotate the warmer weather crops in later. Here are 2 more blueberries. This one is actually getting ready to flower. It's budding nicely. This one not quite yet. They are 2 different kinds of blueberries. So the 2 that I showed you already, I think those are the same. These 2 are different from the 2 I already showed you, and different from each other. And of course I cannot remember which one is which. Strawberries are flowering. So we're looking for hopefully a good berry harvest this year. We didn't get too much last year, only because the birds took most of them. Alright, so that's the update. I hope you all are doing well and enjoying our unusually warm season here in Ohio. And I look forward to showing you more videos. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them up in the comment box. Otherwise, like and subscribe. And have a wonderful day, Switch community.